What's up, guys? Today we're going to be making an NFL quarterback tier list. Today. Also, I think you should subscribe to my channel because I work really hard on these kind of videos, and it takes a lot of time for me to edit, upload, and record all these videos. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. All right. First up, Josh Allen. I think he's elite. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's like the third best quarterback in the league. And I think the Bills are going to do really good this year. I think they have a really good chance at winning the Super Bowl, possibly. And yeah, I think Josh Allen's elite. Next up, we have Brandon Allen. He's just trash. Terrible. He's dog shit. All right. Next up is Joe Burrow, and I think he's elite. You want to know why? Think about it. He led the Bengals, the team with the worst offensive line, to the Super Bowl. And they almost won it, but they lost to the Rams because their O-line was trash. If they had a way better O-line, they would have probably beat the Rams. So yeah, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are like both elite. Both of them. They're both elite. Both of them are like the biggest they're the most important players on the team. Next up, we have Cam Newton. He's not that good anymore. He's probably never going to have a starting job ever again in the NFL. I just don't think he's good anymore. He's below average. All right, next up we have Baker Mayfield. He's average, but last year he wasn't that good, but he was kind of injured, so like he wasn't at his full potential, but I think he's going to do better on the Panthers only cuz like they have better receivers. It's just I think he's going to do better on the Panthers than he did on the Browns overall. Like maybe if he could stay on the Panthers for a few years, he might get a few playoff wins. Probably not the Super Bowl, but he probably won't make the Super Bowl, but yeah, still. All right. Carson Strong is unproven because he's a rookie. Carson Wentz, average. Okay, a few years ago, like 2017, 2018, he was probably above average to elite, but now he's just not that good, and the mistakes he makes they're so bad. Like you want to like him, but like he just makes so many mistakes. Like you just can't put him in above average. All right. So next up we have, I think that's Chad Henne, and we'll put him in below average because there's been some times where he's shined really good. Colt McCoy, below average. Nope. Whoops. Below average. Cooper Rush, below average. Kirk Cousins, I think he's above average. He's underrated. I think the Vikings will do very good this year. I think they might win the division, and they might have a deep playoff run. But yeah, I think Kirk Cousins is definitely above average. All right, next up we have Dak Prescott. Not elite, but very close to elite. I think he's above average. All right, next up we have Andy Dalton. He's below average, very close to dog shit though. Next up we have Davis Mills. For right now, below average, but like in the last few games of last year, he was actually doing pretty good. Like the Chargers game. I remember when the Texans beat the Chargers? That was just a really good game, and Davis Mills really did good in that game. All right, next up we have Desmond Ridder, unproven. Derek Carr, above average. I think he's really underrated, and I think the Raiders possibly may make the playoffs all because of Davante Adams. They went to college together, and I just think they're going to have a really good partnership. Next up, we have Mike White. As much as I joke that he's the GOAT, he's definitely not the GOAT, and he's dog shit. All right, next up, we have Gardner Minshew. Honestly, I kind of wish he had the chance to be a starter, but for right now, he's just below average since he doesn't have a starting job. I don't know who that is, so we're just going to put him in dog shit. Geno Smith is below average, and when Russell Wilson was injured last year, he just couldn't do well, and the Seahawks struggled because of it. They just couldn't find the rhythm. All right, next up, we have Justin Herbert. I see the Chargers making a very deep playoff run this year. They may even win the Super Bowl, make the Super Bowl. So I'm putting Justin Herbert in elite. Even though he hasn't won a playoff game, I just think the Chargers have a loaded team. They're like the Rams of this year. So that's why I'm going to put and plus he's performed pretty well. Check out his stats. That's why I'm putting him in elite. Next up, we have Tyler Huntley. He's below average. He did okay in the games where Lamar was injured. All right, next up we have Jalen Hurts. Right now, I gotta say he's average. But if the Eagles make the playoffs this year and they win the division and everything, I'm putting him up in above average because he has done really good. He did really good this year. But right now, he's an average. All right, I think that is Ian Book. I don't know for sure though. We'll put him in dog shit because he is. Jacoby Brissett below average. He's just a backup and probably will never have a starting job ever again. That is Jake Fromm, and he's not really proven. We'll put him in unproven, to be honest. We've never really got to see him play that much. Jared Goff, average. I feel like everybody hates Jared Goff just because he did bad this year with the Lions. I mean, he's on the Lions, though. Like, how can you do good with the Lions? That's what happened to Matthew Stafford. He was with the Lions for, 12 years, and he had a trash team because of it. He just couldn't get anything done. He couldn't win anything in the playoffs. He just didn't do good with the Lions. So, yeah, I don't blame Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not below average, and he's not dog shit. I think he's average. And if you fit him with a really good team, I think they could possibly make the Super Bowl, like the 2018 Rams. All right, next up, we have Jimmy G, average. He's not going to be the starter this season, though, so it doesn't matter. I think that's... Oh, wait, that's Matthew Stafford. Okay, Matthew Stafford, elite. The Lions held him back for so many years. It's like, it upsets me. They held him back for so many years. And then the first year after he leaves the Lions, the Rams win the Super Bowl with him. He was so underrated on the Lions. The Lions were just holding him back the entire time. All right, next up we have Daniel Jones below average, possibly even dog shit. He's not a good quarterback in my opinion. I think he's the reason that the Giants are kind of trash. I think he's mostly the reason that the Giants are trash. Next up, we have Jordan Love. He's not really proven. We'll put him in unproven. And there's two Tyler Huntleys. Put him in below average. All right, next up, I think that's Josh Rosen. Honestly, I think he is dog shit because put him in a below average only because when he played with the Cardinals in 2018, he just had a really trash team. He had a really trash Cardinals team. And he had nothing to work with and no weapons besides Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk. So he didn't have that much weapons and he had a horrible O-line and just didn't have a good team to work with. So we'll put him in below average. Justin Fields, for right now, below average, only because it was his first year and he didn't do that good. If he can do well this year, I'll put him in average, possibly. Or if he does better, I'll put him in above average or elite, depending on how the Bears do. But for right now, he's in below average. I think that is Case Keenum, and I think he's below average. He's a pretty decent. He's a really good backup, but I just don't ever see him as being a starter ever again. Next up, we have Kenny Pickett, unproven so far. That's not Kirk Cousins. I don't know who that is. Dog shit. Just because I don't know who he is. If I don't know who he is, he's probably not good. All right, Kyler Murray. Honestly, I think he's elite. But I think the Cardinals did overpay him, only by a lot, because he hasn't really won a playoff game. But, he's good. He's good. He's talented enough to win a playoff game. It's just he hasn't done it yet. That's why I think the Cardinals overpaid him, and I just don't think he's worth that much yet. But I still think he's elite, and I predict the Cardinals to go to the playoffs this year. 11-6 or 12-5 is what I'm predicting. All right, next up we have Lamar Jackson. And, he is above average. If he was good at passing, I'd definitely put him in. He might even be the best player if he was really good at passing, but he just can't. He's not that good at passing, but he needs to work on it, but he's still pretty good at it. That's why I'm going to put him in above average. He's elite he's probably the best running quarterback in the game, but he's average when it comes to passing, so I'm going to put him in above average. That's why. Next up, we have Drew Lock, he's dog shit. Why do I even need to explain this? Alright. Okay, next up is Mac Jones, and I think for right now, I think he's average, but if the Patriots make the playoffs next year and he throws for over 25 yards, I think he's above average, to be honest. Because last year, Mac Jones was definitely the best quarterback in the 2021 draft class. So for right now, I'm going to put him in above average. Average. But then If he does well this season and he throws for over 25 touchdowns or 30 touchdowns or over 4,500 yards, I will put him in above average. If he does way better than that and exceeds my expectations, I'll probably put him in elite next year. All right, next quarterback we have a Patrick Mahomes, easy elite, obviously. Okay, next up we have Malik Willis, unproven. Marcus Mariota, it's been a few years since he played, but we'll put him in below average. I don't think the Falcons are gonna do good this year. It's just not their year. They don't have that much weapons. They don't really have a good quarterback. I just don't think they're gonna do that well. They might be one of the bottom 5 teams this year. All right, next up we have Mason Rudolph, and I think Mason Rudolph's below average, very close to dog shit. I just don't think he'll ever have a starting position. I just don't think he's that good. Matt Corral, unproven. Matthew Stafford. Wait, is there 2 Matthew Staffords? There's 2 Matthew Staffords. All right, we'll just put him in elite. We'll put the other Matthew Stafford in elite. Okay, next up we have Mike Glennon. He's definitely the GOAT. I'm just kidding. He's dog shit. All right, next up we have 2 Mike Whites, dog shit. Wait. Okay, wait, no, that was Joe Flacco, and that was Mike White. Okay, but Joe Flacco's below average. Mike White's actually trash. Nick Foles, I think he's below average. He has the chance to be a starter. He could actually be a starter again. He led that Eagles team to the Super Bowl, and he was the backup. But when Carson Wentz got injured, he just stepped right into the role of a starting quarterback and just led them. He led them. Same thing with the next season. 2018, he just led the Eagles to the playoffs again. Well, no, mostly it was Carson Wentz, but some of it was Nick Foles. Okay, but yeah, for right now, I think Nick Foles is below average, and that's just what I think. Okay, next up, I don't know who that is. We'll put him in dog shit, I guess. PJ Walker, I think that is, and PJ Walker is dog shit. He will never have a starting job ever. Aaron Rodgers, elite, obviously. There's no way he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. There's just no way. And I think the Packers will still make the playoffs this year, even without Devontae Adams. Okay, but I don't know if they'll win the division. It's just, I don't know if they're going to win the division, but I know for sure they'll make the playoffs. Next up, we have Russell Wilson. I don't know what to do. For right now, I'm going to put him in above average only because in 2021, he kind of declined a little bit and just, I don't know how he's going to do with the Broncos, so I got to put him in above average for right now. Next up, we have Matt Ryan. I think he's above average, possibly. Yeah, I'm going to say, no, put him in average. Matt Ryan 2016 was like elite. Like 2016, 2017, Matt Ryan was elite. Now he just kind of declined. He's still good. It's just the Falcons are just holding him. The 2021 Falcons were holding him back. He probably would have done better if he played for the Colts last year. All right, next up we have Ryan Tannehill. This is a very long list. And I'll put him in average. 3 years ago I might have thought he was elite, but he showed what he really is without Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and all those receivers. He's not that good as you think. I think he only threw for 19 touchdowns this year. That's not that good. It's average, but it's still not that good to be above average or elite, obviously. All right, next up we have Sam Darnold. He's dog shit. He's not starting this year. There's no way he'll start this year. If the Panthers start him this year, they have him as the starting quarterback for this entire year, they're only going to win 3 games. I'm just saying. They're not going to win that much games. And then once they'll probably win 2 games, the first 2 games of the season. Then once Christian McCaffrey gets injured, he'll have nobody to just give the ball to. So he'll struggle if they have him as the starting quarterback. He cannot throw. He is like a check down quarterback. He can't do anything. All right, next up we have Sam Howell. He's unproven. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is, so I don't know. We'll put him in dog shit. Next up, we have Taylor Heinicke. Below average, but he did really good for For a QB that nobody knew before 2021, like he did really good. I think he threw for like 20 touchdowns this year, and he did a really good job just leading the Commanders. When Ryan Fitzpatrick got injured, they almost made the playoffs. They beat the Buccaneers. Like, bro, you're the Commanders and you beat the Buccaneers. Like, that's really hard. That's a really hard thing to do. So yeah, I think Taylor Heineke is below average, but I think he did surprisingly good this season. Taysom Hill, he's dog shit. He'll never have a starting position. Um, Honestly, I think Teddy Bridgewater is below average. He's never really been that good ever since he's been drafted. But the first 3 years he was the starter for the Vikings. He actually was pretty decent, and then he got injured and just kept getting traded to all these teams. And then once once the Broncos just benched Drew Lock for Teddy Bridgewater and had the chance to actually lead the Broncos, he just couldn't. He just didn't do as well as everybody thought he would. So I'm gonna have to put him in below average for right now. All right, next up we have, I think that is Tim Boyle, and I think he's dog shit. He'll never have a starting position. All right, Trevor Lawrence. Oh, this one's a hard one. He's never really proven himself, so I'll put him in unproven. But this is a really hard one because I think Urban Meyer possibly would have been. I think he might have held the Jaguars back this year. I just think they didn't have really a good team, and I think this year they have a better head coach, a better wide receiver core, better defense, better O line, better everything. So I think the Jaguars will do better this year, but for right now, I gotta put Trevor in unproven. Next up, we have Trevor Siemian, below average. He did kind of good when Jameis got injured, and he had to lead the Saints for a little bit, but yeah. I think he's below average. Trey Lance, unproven for right now. Yeah, because he hasn't really played. He didn't really play that last season because Jimmy G was the starter. Mitchell Trubisky, below average. He might. Okay, I think the Steelers will have better luck if they start Kenny Pickett over Mitchell Trubisky. I just don't think Mitchell Trubisky is all that. I just don't think he would. I just don't think that will start him. All right, next up we have Tua. Right now, I gotta say average, only because this one's a really hard one to do. I think he's no, not below average. I mean average. Yeah, he's average, and just I think he's done really good in the last 2 years for a Miami Dolphins team with not that much weapons, not that good of an O-line. I just think he's done really good. I think the Dolphins will probably get over 5 they'll probably get 5 to 10 wins this year. I don't think that they might make the playoffs, but I just think they'll get 5 to 10 wins this year. All right, next up we have Tyler Huntley again, and he is below average. Hold on. There we go. Tyrod Taylor. Honestly, this one's hard. I gotta put him in below average, but almost dog shit. He's just not good anymore. He lost the starting job to Davis Mills, and no. For the second game of the season, I'm pretty sure he got injured and got replaced by Davis Mills. But just Davis Mills, once Tyrod just recovered and got the starting job back, he just didn't do well, and I just think Davis Mills is probably going to be the starter this year, and I don't think Tyrod Taylor's that good as he used to be. All right, next up we have Deshaun Watson. Right now. Okay, if we were doing this tier list 2 years ago, yeah, I'd say he's elite. But right now, he hasn't played in a year and a half, so I think he's above average. And plus, he just got suspended for 6 games, so the Browns I don't think they're going to do good with. I don't think. Okay, if Jacoby Brissett is their starter for 6 games, they're screwed. They're actually screwed. They're not. Jacoby Brissett is not a good. He's not a good quarterback. He's okay if you really have to have him, but you're not going to win that much games if you have Jacoby Brissett as your starting quarterback. And so I think the Browns are going to struggle without Deshaun Watson as their starter for 6 games. After that, I think the Browns will do pretty good once they have Deshaun starting again after the suspension. All right, next up we have Jameis Winston. average right now. I think he gets overhated a little bit. He did kind of good when he wasn't injured. All right, yeah, we'll put him in average. And next up, we have Zach Wilson. Right now, I got to put him in below average, but honestly, I think if he breaks out, the Jets could have a playoff win. Just think about it. They got Garrett Wilson. They have Elijah Moore. Pretty sure they have Jamison Crowder. I'm pretty sure they have forgot that guy's name. What's his name? I forgot it. All right, but yeah, I think Zach Wilson for right now is below average, and I just think if he does well this season, he might be able to move up to average, above average. I don't think he elite because I don't think he's going to show that he's that good yet. But yeah, I don't know. All right, Tom Brady, obviously elite, and that pretty much ends our tier list. If you like this video, please subscribe for more content. I do my best to make these videos, edit and record these videos, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And